A foggy night in late 1955. Fields stretch as far as the eye can see, blanketed by an ominous mist. Suddenly, a woman's blood-curdling scream pierces the silence. We see her silhouette struggle against an unseen force before falling still. When the morning light reveals the gruesome scene, a small town is plunged into turmoil. Hello guys, and thank you for joining us again at Crimeco, where we meticulously dissect some of the most chilling true crime cases from every corner of the globe, providing you with the most recent and in-depth information. If this sparks your interest, we would be delighted if you could subscribe to our channel. Also, giving this video a like significantly supports our channel's growth. We appreciate your help. Now, let's plunge into today's intriguing case. Born in 1933 to a working-class family in rural Silesia, he endured a troubled upbringing scared by poverty, World War II disruptions, and a broken home life. Kroll harbored deep-seated insecurities and struggled to connect with others. Intelligence tests put him at a low IQ with a fourth-grade education. But behind his docile facade lurked a seething darkness, fueled by disturbing fantasies that grew increasingly violent and depraved. The death of his mother in 1955 reportedly triggered his eruption into madness, compelled to enact his perversions on the living. Posing as an ordinary laborer, the slight yet cunning Kroll maneuvered through society under the radar. Solitary and socially awkward, he immersed himself in hobbies of taxidermy, gardening, and tinkering with machinery. Harmless pursuits camouflaging his monstrous private activities. Few who crossed his path could fathom the depraved crimes being meticulously planned within plain sight, right before their very eyes. In the coming years, over a dozen families would pay the ultimate price for the community's failure to uncover the truth about their neighbor. Little did they know that one of the region's most infamous serial killers had been hiding in their midst all along, biding his time until the chance arose to unleash unspeakable horrors. It began with the murder of 19-year-old Irmgard Strell on a frigid February night in 1955. Her battered body was found discarded in a barn, gruesomely mutilated. Two more young females would meet similarly brutal fates over the following year, stabbed and strangled with their flesh stripped away. During the ensuing investigations, a mechanic named Heinrich Ott fell under suspicion and took his own life, yet the culprit remained at large. 4 years passed before the killings resumed. In June 1959, 24-year-old K. Clara Freda Tesmer was slain and carved up near the Rhine River. A gruesome discovery that set off widespread alarm. 2 months later, 16-year-old Manuela Knott suffered the same grisly end in Essen. The pressing question hung thick in the air: who was this merciless individual preying upon the innocent? Through the 1960s, more victims joined the steadily mounting body count. Their remains left to decay amid rumors of satanic rituals and organized murder rings. Each new atrocity shattered communities and brought the region to a standstill, no one safe as long as the perpetrator escaped justice. But just as quickly as the nightmare began, it would vanish without explanation again for months on end. Investigators grasped at straws, wrongfully charging innocent men, while the real killer blended back into the shadows to strategize his next strike. Like a phantom, Joachim Kroll remained an invisible menace, haunting the populace with his unthinkable acts. That was all about to change when, in a horrifying twist of fate, a chance encounter with police would at long last provide the missing link to solving the decades-old case. A revelation so shocking, it still makes our skin crawl to this very day. Kroll's unknown victims spanned all ages, from young children like 5-year-old Alona Hark to fully grown women. But a dark pattern began to emerge. He seemed to favor petite, tender-fleshed females whose remains he would mutilate post-mortem. stripping their lifeless forms and engaging in vile acts of necrophilia. His depravity knew no bounds. In some instances, he went even further, carving slices of flesh from his victims' buttocks and thighs, which he wrapped and took home. There, he would reportedly cook and consume the ghastly wares like a common meal. It was a perversion so extreme, so unthinkably monstrous, that those hearing Kroll's confession for the first time could scarcely believe their ears. How could a human being commit such unspeakable desecrations? And what dark urges compelled these twisted deeds? Forensics later deduced that his choice body areas typically contained the most flesh, suggesting a practical basis for his cannibalism rather than mere sadism. He chillingly claimed it was simply to save money on groceries since meat was expensive. As formidable as police and investigators were, even they struggled to comprehend the depraved inner workings of such a deranged and superiorly cunning individual. Kroll took pains to alter his methods, traveling to unique sites, sometimes years apart, to slay and harvest flesh. This, coupled with other killers active in the region, enabled his crimes to evade detection for over 2 decades. But in 1976, an event was about to unfold that would finally expose one of history's most enigmatic and stomach-churning serial murder cases, bringing the nightmare to a close. And it would commence not through meticulous police work, but by a bizarre twist of plumbing problems in an ordinary apartment building. On the afternoon of July 3, 1976, 4-year-old Marion Ketter vanished from a playground in Duisburg as children and parents looked on in horror. A massive manhunt swept the town, combing every inch of ground as fear gripped the tight-knit community. Police knocked on doors, requesting help in the urgent search. It was then that a neighbor approached with a strange tale. For days, the upstairs toilet had been mysteriously clogged, preventing use. Upon questioning fellow tenant and loner Joachim Kroll about the strange blockage, he had nonchalantly replied, "Guts." Sensing something amiss, officers gained entry to Kroll's flat. What they discovered inside the nondescript home of an apparently harmless man still sends chills down our spines. In the refrigerator lay bags containing human remains. On the stove, a small hand was seen stewing alongside vegetables in a saucepan. But the most macabre sight awaited in the bathroom. As the plumber set to work, he flushed out gruesome contents trapped in the pipe: lungs, a liver, and other internal organs belonging to none other than the missing girl. At long last, they had their man. When questioned, Kroll shockingly divulged details of Marion's final moments along with over a dozen other murders stretching back decades. He spoke with disturbing ease, as though discussing Gunday chores rather than unspeakable acts of sadism. Having kept his monstrosities hidden for so long under the very nose of an oblivious public, was this sociopath's ego simply starved for recognition after years in the shadows? Or was his apparent candor merely a game, masking deeper fields of twisted perversion yet to be uncovered? Authorities could only look on, struggling to comprehend how such pure evil had been confined within human skin, infiltrating their communities without notice to leave paths of destruction in its wake. The haunting mystery of Joachim Kroll left Germany and the world reeling for answers. In the grip of unfathomable darkness, what more depraved secrets were yet to be brought to light as this case continued playing out in harrowing fashion. In October 1979, Joachim Kroll's shocking case came to a head in courtroom 201 of the Duisburg Regional Court. Shaped from years of interrogations, the prosecution's evidence painted a gruesome picture of unspeakable acts bordering on the incomprehensible. Presenting each atrocity with deliberate care as to not further traumatize victims' families in attendance, prosecutors argued Kroll deserved the highest possible punishment under German law. He coldly sat, smiling and chortling at times as the scale of his sins shocked a transfixed global audience. Over 151 intense days, further grisly revelations emerged. He showed no remorse, insisting with delusional confidence that medical treatment could cure him so he might one day walk free again. Meanwhile, the true scope of his rampage became leagues more disturbing. In addition to confessing to 13 murders and one attempted homicide, forensic records indicated numerous other missing female cases from the Ruhr region fit his pattern. Police strongly believed the total number of lives taken lay far higher, concealed by meticulous planning and a trail of wrongfully imprisoned men. Friends and neighbors offering testimony portrayed Kroll as a friendly though private man, no hint of the unimaginable horrors brewing within. It exposed just how skillfully monsters can blend into everyday life, preying on trust and evading suspicion while in plain sight. A bone-chilling reminder that evil often wears a smile we fail to see past. On April 8, 1982, the judgment was delivered. Joachim Kroll was sentenced to 9 terms of life imprisonment, 1 for each murder conviction. Though stripped of freedom, he would never fully relinquish his warped delusions of surgical redemption. Neither, it seemed, could a lifetime of caged penance undo the irreparable scars left upon Germany and humanity itself. Even in death at age 58 from heart failure behind bars, Kroll's ghoulish legacy would persist. As one of history's most vile and cannibalistic criminals, his saga forever stands as a sober lesson in man's potential for unspeakable depravity lurking beneath the surface of normalcy. Some monsters, it turns out, don't always hide in shadows. They live amongst us still, camouflaged in plain sight. And so ends the haunting tale of a serial killer who preyed upon Germany's industrial heartland for over 2 decades. Through meticulous research and weaving together testimonies, this retelling has aimed to honor Kroll's victims and provide closure to their families by shedding light on this dark chapter. While the full scale of his wrongdoings may never be known, what is certain is that Joachim Kroll inflicted unimaginable suffering during his depraved reign of terror. His shocking crimes forced an entire nation to confront humanity's capacity for unthinkable evil lurking, even within ordinary lives and tight-knit communities. Though punished with life behind bars, Kroll's shadow will linger as a reminder of the gravity in carefully vetting neighbors and acquaintances. For beneath friendly facades, depravity still exists waiting to strike. His cannibalism also taught painful lessons about dismissing supposedly harmless eccentricities, as these can mask deeply disturbed individuals. At the same time, we must avoid the toxic cynicism of casting unwarranted fear upon every stranger. Most live peacefully and mean no harm. As for the relatives of Kroll's victims, it is hoped this telling provides some justice in exposing the truth of their loved ones' last moments. While the wounds can never fully heal, clarity often aids the healing process. Going forward, may we honor the memory of those lost by protecting the vulnerable, uncovering injustice through vigilant cooperation, and striving to comprehend evil without becoming consumed by its darkness. Only then can humanity progressively work to build a future where compassion prevails over cruelty, and no more innocent souls need fear the shadows of predators hiding in plain sight. This has been the chilling case of the notorious Ruhr cannibal, Joachim Kroll. May his victims find long-awaited solace, and their memory be honored through this retelling of courage in the face of unfathomable evil. The truth is now told. Before you leave, please remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell. This will ensure you stay informed about the latest true crime cases we unravel. We're grateful to have you as part of our community as we delve into the captivating mysteries that continue to intrigue us all. Stay curious, and remember that justice sometimes lurks in the darkest corners. Thank you for spending your time with us, and we eagerly anticipate seeing you in our next exploration.